Hello, welcome to Daytime Today. I'm James Lott Jr. Okay, as you saw from the title, I know this is a controversial title. Fans do like being criticized, do like being called out. They're not fans of that. I've learned that many times over the 10 years I've done opinion television. So here's the deal. Just recently over the weekend, last couple of days, there have been several online kind of things going on. I know my girl Michelle Stafford clapped back at somebody who was talking crap about her and her character on X. I know there's an interview going out with Cameron Matheson. I guess him and his daughter. It's hard for them because people dislike of Drew. And what's happening is I'm seeing the story becoming, how dare these actors say anything? And so to me it's fascinating. It's a whole, fandoms are a fascinating situation. And they're becoming a story. It's becoming a story themselves. And so here on Daytime Today, we always talk about the different issues that go on out there. I always like to scour the internet and see what people are talking about. And this is one of the things they're talking about. Some other soap press or soap podcasters or people who comment, who are not podcasts, but comment on soaps, it's kind of divided. Half are like, also telling the fans, your team too much, calm the fuck down, that whole thing. And they're getting some flack too from fans. Like, how dare you tell me to calm down? And then others are kind of like siding with, we hate the character and all stuff. Um, I always look at it this way. Because I've had some vitriol thrown at me over the years, because I always defend what I can. And recently on this show, I did a story on the ungang of Taraya. And I did mention, not to be mean to the actors. They're doing their job. And I got into it with a couple people. They didn't like my response. I was telling people, I was just kind of saying the actors, this is a business. And there are some folks who didn't even like me saying that. I'm telling the truth, but they don't like that I'm telling the truth. They don't want it and I try to think of the psyche and go, because they don't like the way the storyline is going, which I said I don't like the way the storyline is going also. I agree with you. They feel, in some cases, that the actors should speak up and try to affect change in the storyline. If they see the storyline going a certain way that certain fans don't like, then the actors should say something in some cases to change it. And all I was trying to say basically was like, it's not the actor's job. They're being hired to do what they want to do. You just talk to the writer, and not even also the writers, talk to the producers, talk to the network. A lot of times there's higher ups, like in any business. Because again, this is a business, whether you like me saying it or not. That's where you start. Because the writers started the story or stories you liked. Maybe they want to continue on, but they can't. I mean, I don't know. I don't work for the companies, so I don't know. But I'm just saying, the actors acting out their story, I mean, and they are doing their job. It's a job. They are doing their job. I mean, it's like that's what they do. It's like he's not really here to question what stories they get. They're not in charge. They're not in charge. I know some people think people are in charge of this whole thing. But I just know that I got a little bit of pushback when I was saying it's a business. Don't get mad at the actors. So one of the things that I do reaction videos. I have my opinions, right? Just like everybody else. I give you my opinions, and then you do with them what you will, and like everybody else does. And what I've noticed is here's the thing. You're investing time into watching a show. The show gives you story, gives you a final product. We as fans are choosing to watch this final product. So there becomes an ownership of, well, you put this out. So now it's my time to respond to it, or do I like it, not like it? I mean, that's all normal, right? That's totally normal. So you go, I like that story. I don't like that story. I like the way the character's written. I like the character's written. That's all normal. It's only normal. So you're like, okay, that just makes sense. So putting out your opinion about it, exactly, you have your right, because I would not want somebody telling me what to do. Not at all. I mean, of course not. Um, but there's between me and someone's just a fan who doesn't work in the business, who doesn't know what's going on. I always try to give some insight because I did there are things I didn't know that when I'd watch certain shows, they would say, "Well, this is how it works here." So I was very grateful to hear. You know, I'm nosy. I want to hear all kind of behind the stage. I want to hear all the stuff, the behind the scenes and backstage. I want to know what's going on. I mean, I'm just a nosy person like that. I want to know what's going on. So I'm never offended if someone says, "No, James, this is how that really happened." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Oh, okay," because there's times you'll see things, you'll see posts from actors, because now we're in a social media world. You'll hear things from somebody, and some things sound true or seem true. And it may or not may not be. We don't know, you don't know until that person, horse's mouth, says something. So you get caught up in that. And so when someone tells you that's not true, here's the truth. I know that some fans, it's an offense. Take offense to it because you're telling them basically this is not, you're wrong, here's the truth. Then they think you're uppity, they think you know it all. You have to be really careful. If you want to have fans, you have to be very careful on how you speak to them. Sometimes it doesn't matter. You can speak to them plainly and nicely and people still get upset. That just happens. There are crazy fans. I'm not going to, that's just the truth. There are some cuckoo crazy fans out there who you can never change their mind about anything. No matter, you could be in the room with the people and they're like, I don't believe what you're just siding with them. They'll always turn it there. That's just normal. But there are a segment of fans who are cuckoo crazy, but just are really caught up in these stories. And I always tell people, whatever you put the show puts out, it's kind of their fault. They put out a show, they choose characters to act a certain way, the fans are going to respond a certain way. That completely is normal. So the other side that's fascinating about this is if an actor mentions, because we've seen it for years. I mean, Tony Gary getting grapefruits thrown at him, people getting tomato like in public, like this. We know there's things that happen in real life that, some of them comical, some of them not. Even I've met some people and I'm like, I hate your character, but you're so nice. Oh my God. And some of it's for fun. Some of it's really fun, fun stuff. But if an actor complains or claps back on like they feel like it's a lie or being told a certain thing, they want to defend themselves, the actor can't win because the fans will just go, half the fans will agree with them and go, yeah, we totally know what you're saying, but the other half will go off on you and just like, how you're whining and how dare you, we can say whatever we want and you got just, because we're not, even us soap podcasters, we're not viewed as folks, human. You're viewed almost as just that, well, you chose to be online, you chose to give your opinion, or you chose to do your performance, you chose to do that storyline. So whatever we say to you, you're supposed to be able to take. Or whatever we say out there, it's out there for everybody else, you may agree with you or not, you have no right to comment on it. You have no right to say anything. You have no right to say anything. And it's one of those things where you damn if you do, damn if you don't. And there are a lot of actors who say nothing. They're not on social media. They don't say anything. It's probably the smart ones. They don't say anything because it's too much. And they don't want the flack just thrown at them. And I always tell people, don't read the comments a lot of times because you just can't. When you're in this business, you can't always read the comments. And I got in trouble, people like, you don't read the comments. You don't say anything. I'm like, well, some of the comments are horrible. I don't want to read them. But I understand. I'm not dumb. I understand someone may not like what I'm saying. So they're responding to me not liking what I'm saying in a way that could be mean or rude or whatever. My job is to continue speaking my truth, how I see things, how I view things, and still trying for you guys. I love the fans. I'm trying to give you some insight so you are well armed in knowing what's going on. Yes, there are hierarchies on shows. Just like any business. There are folks who've been there longer than others. Yes, they're going to get a little more different treatment than others. That does happen sometimes. That's true. But for the most part, it's still a producer's network game. Um, no actor is not indispensable, at all. And that just is not how that works. People have been fired for all kinds of reasons, let go for all kinds of reasons, and that happens. Um, but for the actors who may watch my show right now, it's this, and fans, the fan performer, the fan after show person, the fan podcaster, fan soap writer. It's a very tenuous line that we all walk. Because I'd like to think, in general, all of us want good story, good writing, good stuff. The character of Drew is just a great example right now, just on General Hospital, how divisive his character is. And there are some fans who really are attacking Cameron Matheson and attacking and want Drew off the show and all stuff. And I always think to myself that he's doing a good job. If you hate the character so much, that's almost like I hate the character too. That's kind of the point, and there are characters you hate. There are some characters you love to hate. People loved Alexis, JR. There's some that people love to hate. There's some who just hate, period. And yes, trust me, there were storylines in some of these shows. Like the elephant story on Jenny's Days of Our Lives. Seriously, I did an opinion show and we're like, what can I say that's just not negative all the time? And I get it. And for me, with the fans, I feel your pain, man, most of the time. Like, sometimes I agree with you on stuff. But then I watch other people call them out or criticize them. Oh, they don't, nope. Offensive. I'm a life coach, so I know that you say certain words, they're triggering to people, and they will come at you. There's one of the things we learned in coaching. You never ask a why question when you want to know something. So you say, why did you do that? And to me, I just want to find out why you did it. It sounds offensive to some people. So they go on a defense. And it's like, why you say it like that? Or why you asking me like that? Other ways you can say that is, I noticed you went over there and did that. What was the reasoning, or does that really work for you best to get that way? Like there's other words you can use that don't sound as offensive to people. And I just learned that that's the thing in my coaching world. So I know in the journalism world, the soap world, it's a trip. And I said, I'm not in any of these fights right now. I'm just like, I tell my opinions and move on by my life. But I just wanted to kind of do, again, we like scour the internet and see what people are talking about. What are your thoughts on this whole thing? You also hate when soap writers or soap actors complain about being attacked or having fans or just rabid people just coming after them all the time, and they're trying to interact with you and just have a good time. This is an interesting time because before you had to go to a fan event to interact with a fan. Now it's social media. It's a whole different ballgame. There's much more, and a lot of this. I'm telling you, a lot of the actors want to be on social media and they can't. The fans are just too toxic for them. And I totally get it. It's a shame. They want to be on. They want to share stuff with you and talk to you, and just can't do it. There are more fan events out there happening again, so that's a good thing. But I've been attacked. I've seen it on both sides, and it's a really tenuous relationship. I'm sure I'll get attacked again. I never doubt it. There are people who come into my chats who are just always negative. They never have anything positive to say ever. There are times when I ignore them, and there are times I clap back. I feel like it. I got thick skin, so you can't say anything to me that's going to make me whatever. I can handle it. But just for the observation of seeing that the story is now becoming, how dare you tell me how to feel? I can feel however I want to. How dare you call me? When the hell people start name calling? How dare you call me a dumbass? Or how dare you call me this? Or how dare you call me crazy? Now and it's almost that thing where you start fighting about the way you're fighting, and then the actual thing that happened, no one's talking about. Like you almost forget about that. It's just like, you told me to shut up, and that's it. It's very, 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 very interesting. I'm kind of just watching and seeing what's going on out there. Because I'll never be silenced. I'm not going to ever not stop. If I feel like someone say something really that I feel like I want to get out, I'm going to get it out, obviously. But I do know that I can get attacked for it. That's how it is when you open your mouth in public. When you do videos, you do audio. That's just how it is, and I've accepted it. And some other people have accepted it too. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. So anyway, that's enough about that. I'm James Lott Jr. This is Daytime Today. We're on all platforms, all social media platforms too. And we report on what's going on in the daytime world today. See you next time.